have nothing. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Oh, it does work. Welcome to tonight's meeting. We will start tonight's meeting with Invocation and Pledge of Allegiance, led by Braden Worley.
Will you pray with me first? Our God and our Father of our Lord Jesus, I pray that you will be involved in every decision, every discussion, and every conversation. And I just pray that you bless these proceedings this evening and allow it all to move forward in a way that is pleasing and glorifying to you. And it is in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. Will you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Braden. Alrighty, we will call to order the April 28th, 2025 Hine County School Corporation Board of Trustees Board Meeting.
Here.
Mrs. Hine? Is absent. Mr. Carl?
Here.
Mrs. Miller?
Thank you, Ms.
One is to add agenda item G5 under personnel, which is the personnel relief requests, and renumber the remaining consent agenda. And number two, assignment of Mrs. Brunson, licensed substitute teacher in the district, effective 6/13/25, and the removal of the recommendation of assignment of Brianna Baker, sub-aide and sub-bus driver transportation, effective 4/29/25.
Thank you, Mr. Trout. I'll entertain a motion to request the amended agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda recommendation. That's bad today.
Any questions or discussion? Let's vote on the motion. Motion passes 6-0. Moving on to item B, core values, B1, core values discussion.
Tonight is my honor to present the core values recognition for Huntington County Community Schools, a portion of our board meetings that's always exciting, an opportunity for us to recognize staff and students. And so please come up to the front when your name is called. Friends and family, you're welcome to step out of your seat to take a photo once the individual or group is honored. First up, we want to recognize Lane Camvin. I'm not sure Lane is here this evening, but we've been trying to recognize him as the county spelling bee champion. This was a three-peat for him, and I don't think he's here, but just let me share his bio. First, we're proud to recognize Lane Camvin. Crestview Middle School. Lane emerged victorious in the Huntington County Spelling Bee after an intense 10 rounds of competition. Lane's dedication and perseverance are truly remarkable, having won the school-wide spelling bee for 4 consecutive years and the county-wide competition for the past 3 years. Again, congratulations, Lane, on this outstanding achievement and your incredible three-peat at the county level. Lane Camvin. Next, we'd like to recognize our Crestview Middle School Junior Vikes swimming. Northeast 8 Conference individual champions. As we celebrate you, if you would please come forward. The team captured the Northeast 8 Middle School Conference Championship, showcasing hard work, talent, and teamwork. Individual and relay highlights include, and when I read your name, if you'd please come forward, Violet Kowalski, who placed first in the 100 individual medley and 50 butterfly. Micah Smith, who placed first in the 200 freestyle and 100 freestyle. Isaac Kowalski, who placed first in the 50 freestyle and 100 backstroke. Lane Camvin, who also placed first in the 50 butterfly. And the team of Isaac Kowalski, Dawson Husband, Lane Camvin, and Micah Smith, who earned first place finishes in both the 200 medley relay and 300 freestyle relay. Congratulations to Lane, Violet, Isaac, Dawson, Micah, and the entire Crestview Middle School swim team for their outstanding performances. Parents, again, feel free to step out, take a picture. Hold on. More pictures. Are we good? Okay, congratulations. Finally, we are honored to recognize Mrs. Jeannie Poff from Horace Mann Elementary School, who was named the 2025 Fort Wayne Philharmonic Music Educator of the Year. Mrs. Poff transitioned into the music position this year and has embraced the opportunity with enthusiasm and passion. Her energy is truly contagious, transforming even the most hesitant students into eager participants. Her classroom is a vibrant space where learning blends seamlessly with fun, fostering a love for music that radiates throughout the school. Each morning, students arrive bursting with excitement for the musical adventures ahead. Mrs. Poff is cultivating more than just an appreciation for music. She is inspiring a love of learning and a positive attitude towards school itself, one joyful melody at a time. Congratulations to all of our honorees this evening. Congratulations, Jeannie. You're shining examples of the core values we uphold in Huntington County Community Schools. Congratulations. You're welcome. And that concludes our core values for this evening.
All right, moving on. We will move on to item C1, public comment, items from visitors. We have one person signed up, J.C. Schostel. J.C., come up to the podium. Maybe?
Is that you?
Is that you, John?
Yeah, come on up.
Jump up there, John.
Come up to the mic there.
Everybody in the world's got to hear you. I told the man what I thought
If you could, John, just
of a
state your,
nice program that I listened to last 2 weeks ago on the green team. Okay, nice idea. Until I drove in here tonight and I saw what was a 10-foot blue spruce on the corner down here, cut down and piled up for the trash man. And if we're gonna cut down a 10-foot blue spruce, then we don't deserve spending any money on a greenway with a bunch of exotic flowers in it. That's my whole comment.
Okay.
thank you, John. Would anyone else like to speak, address the board? All right, we'll move on to our next item, D, facilities, D1, HCCS, and Viridian architecture design, proposal and terms.
Did you make sure that mic's on? You might have to.
Yeah, it's on. It's on. I can yell.
Chuck or Gary?
Okay, so what we're going to do here this evening is he's going to talk to us about the re-roof projects at Flint Springs and Lincoln. So Terry, we'll turn it over to you, okay?
Okay, so Pat and Rich came to us a couple months ago and asked us for help on two roofing projects, as John said, for Flint Springs and Lincoln. They are part of the triplets, the three matching buildings, and we're mainly focused on the flat roofs. So those are membrane roofs, and we also focused on siding and signage. So if you go to Andrews, you'll see there's already siding and new signage on that building that was done a few years ago. Because the way the buildings were designed, you can actually get water infiltration through the brick wall and then ends up inside the building. So the siding is a way to stop that, and then new signage just helps dress things up and make because we take off the old stuff and just put on the new. So we designed both of those projects, and we did put them out to bid, which is the next item, which I'll talk about here shortly. pretty straightforward projects, and we're actually cleaning up a few things as well in the mechanical rooms below, because the mechanical systems of the building have changed since they were originally built slightly. So we're going to clean up some things in the process. So pretty straightforward. Projects would be finished this year, and the contractor that I'll talk about here shortly is eager to get started. So
Thank you, Terry. When you say finish this year, will they be starting, I mean, if we award the bid, they'll start in the summer or fall, or?
they asked to start tomorrow if they could, but we told them we'll probably at this point wait till the end of school and get started, because unless they have material on hand, we don't want to have any safety issues, so we try to minimize that.
Understand. Any questions for Terry about the projects?
So is part of that the re-roofing of the buildings too?
It is. The main part is roofing.
Okay.
The siding is secondary to that.
And I'm just trying to remember, I think we did Andrews, and you may not know this, a couple of years ago when it got hail damage. So these are the last two of that.
So the shingled portions of the buildings are done.
Okay.
Those were done in '22, I believe. These are the flat roofs. It's just a smaller portion of the building.
Okay, I was just making sure, I was trying to remember what all it was. Cool.
Any other questions for Terry? We can go to D2, award bid.
Okay, so we received two bids.
Got to vote on that? I'd love to make a
Sorry.
motion.
Let me finish that one first.
I thought that was this one. So I do need to take a motion on item D1.
I make a motion that we approve the HCCS and Viridian architectural design proposal, terms, and conditions for Flint Springs and Lincoln Elementary re-roof projects.
Thank you, Mr. Melcher. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Mr. McClellan. Any further questions or comments before we vote? Hearing none, we'll vote on the item. Motion passes 6-0. Move on to D2, award of bid for Flint Springs and Lincoln Elementary roof projects.
Okay, so we received two bids for each of the buildings, and McGuff Roofing actually has an office here in Huntington, and they were the low bid, and their bid's exactly the same for both buildings at $251,495, and that includes the roofing as well as the siding and signage, all inclusive. And we have a $15,000 contingency in each project just in case they open up the roof and find any damaged roof deck or anything like that. So my recommendation tonight to the board would be to accept both of those bids from McGuff Roofing in the amount of $251,495.
Thank you, Mr. Thornsberry. Mr. McLaughlin, you have anything to add?
Mr. Allen, just will add that this is part of the capital projects budget is where these funds are coming from that was set aside for the roofing projects of those two buildings.
Thank you. Anyone like to make a motion reference this item?
Motion to approve the bid for McGuff Roofing for Flint Springs and Lincoln Elementary.
Thank you, Mr. Melcher. And anybody make a second? Thank you, Mr. McClellan. Any questions or comments prior to the vote? Hearing none, we'll vote on the item. Motion passes 6-0. Move on to, thank you, Mr. Thornsberry, appreciate that.
Go help our people quit grinding the roast ceilings.
That's good work being done out there, brother. Move on to E1, HNHS Summer 2026 Trip to Ireland.
Hi, I'm Bill Palmer, and I'm presenting information on a proposed trip to Ireland that Mrs. Bailey Kindler and Mrs. Ellie Siebing and myself are planning on taking a group of students on. Currently, we are looking at taking the trip in July of 2026. So we're a little bit a ways still, but we are going to be doing the trip with EF Tours. Currently, Mr. Azza leads a trip to Spain with EF Tours, so we've already worked with them a little bit as a school. Now we're kind of looking to expand that beyond just the kids who are in the Spanish program. I've actually been on an EF tour myself. In 2014, I went to London, Paris, Amsterdam, and Brussels with them, and it was a great experience being a young adult and being able to do the traveling without the stress of planning my own itineraries and arranging my own hotels and everything. Another big perk with doing an EF tour is that everything is all-inclusive. The only money that students need to have separate on the trip is for lunch and souvenirs. All of their dinners, breakfast, hotels, flights, everything is covered in the trip cost. The trip to Ireland is going to be 9 days. 2 of those days are going to be traveling between Indianapolis and Dublin, either way. But then while we're in Ireland, we're going to be in Dublin, Kilkenny, Cork, Blarney, Ring of Kerry, Killarney, and Galway. We're going to be seeing several different monuments, such as the St. Patrick's Cathedral, Bunratty Castle, Folk Park, and then a lot of different scenic and natural monuments as well. Most of our travel between the city is actually going to be on buses, so students are going to be able to see just a lot of just random stuff that you wouldn't see just going to one city, which is one of my favorite parts when I went on my trip, because we took buses between Paris, Brussels, and Amsterdam, so you just got to see kind of everything. We're expecting the trip to be between July 7th and 15th of 2026, so it will be 9 total days, but EF does say that it can be anywhere within the range of the 5th through the 19th, still 7 days, but the specific dates may shift up to about 3 months before departure. So once we have those final dates, then we'll be able to present that part of it. Our current plan for getting kids there is going to be to take a bus from Huntington North High School to Indianapolis Airport. And then we will fly overnight to Dublin. Like I said, while we're in Dublin, all of our transportation will be provided by EF. We'll be on buses the whole time. Most of the time they're chartered buses, unless we're doing just like a small thing in the city, in which case it might be public transit. When we return to Indianapolis Airport, again, we will bus the kids from Indy to Huntington North. Currently, we're expecting to be chaperoned by at least 3 teachers. EF requires 1 teacher for every 6 students that go. And that'll be at least, because at this point, Mrs. Kindler, Mrs. Steaming, and I are all 3 planning on going regardless of the number of kids we have. The cost for this trip is, for students, right about $4,100. If students sign up before May 2nd still, they can get it for $200 off. EF does split this up into payments for the parents, depending on when they sign up. Right now, we're looking at right around between $250 and $300 per month, depending on the specific day they sign up. Students can also apply for a $1,000 Global Citizen Scholarship through EF. And then we are planning on doing some different fundraising as well. One of the fundraising options that EF has is students will get a personal financing fundraising page where they can post a link on Facebook, post a link out to their friends, send letters, and get support and donations. When we get back to school in the fall, we're planning on doing some group fundraisers where the funds would just be divided up between everyone. Adults are welcome to sign up as well, so if there's parents that want to go, their cost would be $4,800. EF does require anyone over the age of 20 to have a background check, though, so we have that security there too. With this cost, like I said, everything's all-inclusive, so students really don't need to bring a ton of money with them. This does include the airfare, hotels, transportation while we're in Ireland. We'll have an Ireland-based EF tour guide with us the entire trip. They lead everything there. We also will have access to their 24/7 support lines in case of any emergencies. There's also different insurance policies and everything that they include. That's all in the board packet documents. Like I said, I went on one of these. It was with my high school, but I did it after my freshman year of college. And like I said, the cool part was you got to see all these European cities. You got to experience the world outside of what you grew up in. But you don't have to take the time and energy to plan out every second of the trip, because I also did one of those trips by myself after college, and it was not as fun because you had to plan everything. But yeah, If you have additional questions on this, Mrs. Kindler has been the one kind of planning the majority of it. She just had a softball game, so she wasn't able to be here tonight. So if I can't answer it, then I'll direct those to her.
About how many students are you anticipating
Well,
roughly?
we would love for 18 to go, just because that works with the EF stuff, and just because we want to bring it to as many kids as we can. Currently, I believe we have 3 or 4 that have already signed up with EF school board guaranteed, where if something doesn't happen, they can still get refunded. But yes, we're still pushing it. We've done a few different informational meetings at the school. I know Mrs. Kindler did one last week with parents, and we had like 20 some odd kids that came. And we're still early, we're still within the 10 days of that meeting as well. So we're hoping to get more in. We're looking at anywhere from people who will be freshmen next year to even if they're a senior this year, they can still go next summer, even though they'd be in college.
Great, thank you. Would anyone like to make a motion reference his request? Thank you, Mrs. Miller, and could I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Wall. Any further discussion or question, Huntington? So what a great experience and great opportunity. Best of luck, and yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's vote on the motion. Motion passes 6-0. Moving on to, thank you for the presentation too, thank you very much. Moving on to F, students, F1, student, let's check, 2025 summer food service proposal.
So we have Mr. Burgess here to talk about the plan for summer school and summer feeding in Huntington County. So, Mr. Burgess.
Good evening. Thank you for your counsel on this most beautiful of days. I am here tonight to ask for your permission to operate the summer food service program this summer at a total of 16 locations. I want to be clear that all of this information today is to only ask for the school board's approval to move forward with the summer feeding at these sites. I am still working closely with the IDOE and USDA on a sponsor management plan and site integrity plans for the summer food service program. Upon school board approval, I will continue with the application process for the IDOE and USDA approval. That application window will close later this week. Based on current response and approval times, my estimate is that we will have advertising materials ready for the public by the middle of next month. A few items I do want to go over that we kind of are, that will happen this year that we do every year. We request to pay our summer staff for July 4th if they work for the summer food service program. Salaries and wages will be covered by the state summer USDA reimbursements rates, which essentially means that it is all the salaries are fully funded within food service reimbursements, so there's no funding that comes outside of food services. Staff is paid at the regular rates, and the director is paid at 3/4 of a daily rate for 6 hours per day. Like I said, there are 16 total sites that we are looking at this year, and then I believe I have it for you all the information about the total number of staff members as well. There are a few changes to our typical summer feeding this year. I am excited to share that it looks promising that we are able to add a site each in Roanoke and Warren this year. More details will come upon approval when we are ready to advertise to the public, but I will share what I have so far. This year at Roanoke Elementary, just to kind of give you a little background on our limitations with why it has been a challenge to find a site in Roanoke. There is nowhere within Roanoke town limits that is technically allowed to operate the summer food service program. The school itself does not qualify because of its low number of students who qualify for free and reduced meals, and the census of the entire area shows Roanoke as too affluent to run the program. For these reasons, I've worked closely with the IDOE to establish a very rare type of site referred to as a closed enrolled conditional rural non-congregate site. That's the technical term for the site. I have to say that every time that we talk to the state about it. This will be the very first site of its kind in the entire state of Indiana. So no other site has ever existed. So the eyes are very much on us to make sure that the integrity of the site this summer is it. The USDA is very interested into how we'll operate this site as well. So we're kind of the guinea pigs for this operation too. To give you a quick overview, what we're looking at for this site is that on Mondays and Thursdays, only from 4:30 to 5:30 p.m., multi-day meal pickup will be available only for families who live within Roanoke city limits and whose children qualify for free and reduced meals. Applications will be available in person and online for families who have not already applied for these benefits. Families will need to call in advance to reserve these meals, and there will be a deadline by which they need to make these reservations. Again, more details will come when we are ready to advertise to the public, and this has not been officially approved by the IDOE as of yet, but those who I'm working with, my state representatives, are very excited about us offering this program, and they're very optimistic that we'll be able to make this happen. It is very restricted, as you kind of can hear from all those parameters, mostly because, like I said, Roanoke itself is not an area that would qualify, so they're kind of allowing us to operate the site with these parameters. So that's kind of why those restrictions are for that site alone. We've been working closely with the First Baptist Church of Warren. They've been great to work with. What we're looking at for that operation is to offer service Monday through Friday, more like our other sites that we have throughout the county. Monday through Friday, we're looking at a timeline from 11:30 a.m. to 12:15, where we would provide children a lunch to eat that day, and then a shelf-stable breakfast that they can take with them to eat at home the next day. And then on Friday, we would offer them a meal kit where they would have a shelf-stable breakfast and lunch for Saturday and Sunday and Monday morning that they would have at home for them as well, so they would have a meal to take home with them over the weekend also. For this one, families would not need to sign up ahead of time for this, and this location would be open to all children 18 and under as well, like most of our sites also. One other change, as I'm sure most people are aware, is that high school, summer school will not be at the high school, it'll be at Crestview Middle School this year. Other than the change in location, our style of operation will be the same as last year. We will be offering breakfast and lunch service Monday through Friday. It will also be open to the public as it has been in previous years. We will offer breakfast and lunch service in person, but we will also offer that what we refer to as the wraparound meal service for the weekend, where we offer them a meal kit for the weekends, where they have a shelf-stable breakfast and lunch for Saturday and Sunday, so they have breakfast and lunch for themselves at home as well. And then, as I'm sure you're aware as well, Flint Springs now is offering a iRead summer school to catch those kiddos up for their to move on to 4th grade, and we are offering breakfast and lunch also at that summer school from June 9th to June 27th, and then we are also offering breakfast and lunch then in person as well for those kiddos free at cost also. And then the other sites, we have the kinder camps, the 2 weeks before school at all elementaries, the 2 bus routes that each hit 3 sites in the county, and then Parkview Family YMCA as well. So that being said, last year we did, I believe, I have it here, I don't need to believe, we served 34,000 meals to students in Huntington County, which tripled the numbers from the year before. So we're looking to even increase that with the extra sites and adding that wraparound meal service, which was great. It was really well received. We do make it kid-friendly. We're very conscious of the fact that a lot of these children at home maybe don't have the necessary tools or skills to cook themselves meals, so we make sure that these menus are things that little kiddos can make sure to make themselves very simply cooked or not cooked at all things, and kid-friendly snack-type items. So we love the program. We're trying to build it, and we're trying to make sure that we're reaching as much of the county as we can now. And with the new sites in Warren and Roanoke, I think that we're about as far out as we can be now. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. But like I said, my purpose here tonight is just to ask for permission to move forward with getting permission with the IDOE to access these sites over the summer.
Thank you, Mr. Burgess. I'll entertain a motion, and then we can ask some questions and discussion afterwards. Anyone would like to make a motion?
The 2025 summer food service proposal as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Melcher. Is there a second?
Second.
Ryan got that one. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. I know the efforts you took to get Roanoke included was significant. That's just really, really important. We know that there are children that are hungry in Roanoke, despite what other people might make there. Thank you so much for what you're doing.
Well, as I said before, I'm really passionate about what I do. I know you all know that. I'm really blessed to have people at the IDOE and USDA that are the same. You all know that they are facing challenges as well on their end with funding and staffing. All this applications process is through their website, and about a month ago, all of their programmers got fired. So any kind of kink in the website, they have to actually that person has to go in and manually allow it to go through, as opposed to them just fixing the website to work properly. So the last email I got was on Thursday night at 11:25 from my field specialist at the IDOE. So I want to make sure you guys know that they're working tirelessly as well to make this happen for us. So we have the support too from the IDOE to help make this happen in Huntington.
Thank you, Alex. Any further conversation? Hearing none, let's vote on the motion. Motion passes 6-0. Move on to.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Burgess. Moving on to item G, consent agenda, items 1 through 17.
Yes, we have quite a few items. We're going to spotlight a few here. First of all, we're going to start off with number 5 and 6, which is the personnel report. Mr. Peters wants to highlight one item in there for you. And then also, he wants to highlight this evening the Horace Mann assistant principal. So, Mr. Peters, we'll turn it over to you.
Want to do it now?
Yeah, you can do it now. We'll if they get approved, we'll take their pictures afterwards. So that'll be great.
All right. Well, let me share out in the personnel report. You'll see in their board that Gary Mast will be filling in for Amy Rudolph, who is on medical leave. Gary has 39 years of experience, teacher, counselor, and administrator. I know you're going to find this very, very hard to believe when I share this with you because we both look so young. But 46 years ago, I was Gary's student teacher at Lancaster Elementary School. I know, clap or say something, I'm not sure. But I called Gary and he said, Jay, could you give me a day or so to think about this, about filling in the last month of school at Andrews to support students and staff and parents? And within an hour, he called me back and he said, Jay, I'll do it. A year ago at this time, Gary filled in as the counselor there at Andrews as Amy was looking for a counselor there. And so Gary filled in there for us and stepped in. What a mentor, a friend, a colleague. He did call us. I was at Andrews this morning. He called us. He had a tea time at 10 o'clock this morning, and he called us and talked to Kim, the secretary, and we had to laugh because now those will probably change, Gary, till about 4:30, buddy, instead of 10 o'clock. But so thankful for Gary. He's in the audience right here. You all know him. He's been around. What a great man and a great friend and mentor and colleague. And so just excited that Gary's going to be willing to step in there and take over the last month at Andrews Elementary School. Gary Mast. Next up, I'm excited to announce the assistant principal for Horace Mann Elementary School, Jennifer Bowman. And Jennifer, I wrote down your travels. I hope I got this right. Lancaster Elementary, 6 years. Crestview Middle School, 1 year. Horace Mann, 20. Northwest, 7 years. Total of 34 years. She has taught 1st, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grades. The new assistant principal at Horace Mann Elementary School, Jennifer Bowman.
So after the vote here, Gary and Jennifer, this is your lucky night. You get your picture taken. Look, you're so good. And we can even have mom come up and your daughter. So there you go, too. So that'll be awesome. Board, I'm going to sneak something in here because Mr. Peters would never tell you this. who's been filling in at principal out at Andrews the past couple of weeks has been Mr. Peters. And Jay, I just want to say publicly thank you. I had to go out and see him last week just to make sure he was coming back into the office. hadn't seen him for a week. And so, but Jay has been awesome out there. And I just want to take that opportunity, Jay, just to tell publicly thank you for your servant attitude with that. That was incredible experience for those kids and staff and community. So thank you. 12 is the grant for the anchor easement at Andrews. We discussed that at a previous work session, so I just wanted to draw your attention to that. The Viking Green Team, we've had multiple presentations on that, so the approval process is what we're looking for there. We continue to be so supported in this community on a variety of fronts, but financially just continues to blow me away. I'm asking for donations of $61,314.91 this month, which is just so incredible that the support that we continue to get from our community and the grants that are being written. And so I'm asking for your approval. So of all those items, I'm asking for your approval of all the consent agenda that is listed.
Thank you, Mr. Trout. Would anyone like to make a motion on the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion on the consent agenda for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Carl. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Wall. Any comments or questions before we vote?
I would just like to add, Ms. Bowman was my student teacher in 6th grade. I wanted to be like Jay and point that out. Amazing job, so thanks.
I'll echo that.
Mr. Carl, I'll one-up you there. Mr. Mast, I was his counselor, my first year as a counselor in 1985. Is that right, Gary? 88. It was a while ago. And then he followed me when I left Andrews after 10 years and went to Southwest. He came in as principal. So thank you, Gary, for coming back. We're really glad to have you, and congratulations, Mrs. Bowman. It's wonderful.
Thank you, Mrs. Miller. Anything else for the better of the group? Let's vote on the motion. Motion passes 6-0.
Okay, so Jennifer, if you want to bring your family up here, and then after we take your picture, we'll allow you, if you want to say a couple things. Would you like to say a couple things? Sure you would. Okay, so board, if you would like to go forward here, and you'll get your picture taken with Jennifer and her family, okay? Mr. Peters, if you want to step in there, thank you. Okay. We'll go ahead and get our picture taken after Jennifer says a couple things. So there you go. Okay, she's at the podium.
I'm here. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm very excited to serve our Horace Mann community in a different role. So I'm excited to join Mindy and the rest of the team.
So introduce your family to us here, so the board may not know. So
This is my mother, Mary Bowman, and my daughter, Michaela Bowman.
So congratulations. How about a nice round of applause for Mrs. Bowman? Okay, board, if you want to go up with Mr. Peters, and you can get your picture taken, that would be great. Yep. Make sure you get her family in here, Kenny. If he wants to. Okay, thank you. Okay, board, stay right there with Mr. Peters, and then Mr. Mast, if you want to come forward and get your picture taken with this good-looking group. How about a nice round of applause for Mr. Mast? Gary, would you want to say anything? You want to say anything? Yeah, we'll give you the mic. I know they not. Yeah, I know.
I was hoping I would get to do this. This is not about me. This is a thank you from the Mast family. I have two kids, both graduated from here. My wife and I spent, well, her whole career, almost my whole career, teaching here as administrator, counselor. Have three grandkids. By next Sunday, I'll have had three grandkids that graduated from here. And so I just thank you. We've been here a long time. And I will say just a couple things. I thought I retired in 2014. I have 39 years, and I got a couple years off, got a knee replaced, got to go to spring training once, and doggone if in 2017, Coach Hamill didn't call and say, don't you want to help coach baseball? And I said, yeah, for 1 year. And in 2023, that 1 year ended. And so I thought, okay, now I'm done. And last spring, Ms. Rudolph texted and said, can you please come be the counselor for 6 weeks? Okay. Now I'm done. And then this happened again this year. So I want to be done, but in all seriousness, we appreciate this place, and we've been here our whole lives, our whole adult lives, and we appreciate what you do. I know what you go through, and I know what you're doing, and just. If you give me just 30 more seconds, I have to say I've got three former Upward coaches over here. I got a former student. I got a former coworker. I just appreciate all of you people. Our grandson that's graduating had some challenges, and this high school did some great things for him. We love this place, and I appreciate the opportunity to serve, and just thank you.
Don't move, don't move. From a parent you've had all my kids, especially the oldest one, you've always been about the kids. So thank you, and because I've known you very well for a lot of years, and you've always been about the kids. So from a parent who have had my kids as a principal, you've done very well. And
the guy that sat beside me and his daughter he told me I was his principal. I didn't catch that one. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Thank you. Okay, moving on the agenda. Move on to item H1, March 2025 financial reports.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. First of all, I'd like to say that I know Becky Smith, but I am not Becky Smith.
Wow.
However, I was trained by Becky Smith to give these financials, so I'm going to give it my best. All right.
Wow, you beat us to the punch.
It's being recorded. We'll share it with her.
Yes. I just hope she's not watching the live stream.
Oh, she's watching.
Oh, darn it. All right. So the first thing you'll see up here, Board, is the March financials for the Education Fund. And if you notice, the budget order in the green was for the $40 million. That's our anticipated revenue based off of the budget order that we submitted. And if you look at the bottom of that column with the expenditures, you'll notice that those expenditures exceed that $40 million. And that's because, just a reminder, any carryover POs from the previous year that we had purchased but not yet received, those items hadn't been paid, so we were able to carry those POs over, and that because they were encumbered. So that's just a quick synopsis of that. You can see that basically from the state basic grant, which is our ADM money, we get about $3.3 million a month. Year to date is just over $10 million. And if you look at the pie chart at the top, if you look at that for salary and benefits, you'll notice that almost just over 96% of that budget in the Education Fund goes to teacher salaries and benefits. And the purpose of the Education Fund is just what it says. It's for the education of our students in Huntington County. And you can see that we have dedicated that money to go to teachers and staff and their benefits to provide the best education possible for our students. And you'll also notice that with our revenue of just over $10.2 million year to date, we have only spent about 9.4, so we're doing very well there and being fiscally responsible. So that added about $825,000 to our cash balance because of the stewardship of those finances and making sure that we're spending that money appropriately. And then I'll call your attention to the bar graphs on the bottom right side there and the column just underneath there. So year to date, there's been about 25% of the school days or the school year so far. That's that 24.66% of the 365 days in a year. The revenue that we've received for that is just, again, under 25%, but the percent of the budget expended is just under 19%, and that's where we get that extra $850,000 to go in our cash balance. So we're right on track. This is the end of the first quarter in terms of the budget cycle, so you would anticipate around 25% of those monies being received at this point, and that's right where we're at. If we move on to the debt service fund, actually, I do want to say one other thing about the operation, or the Education Fund, I'm sorry. So that is based off of our ADM, and that is the amount that we're receiving, that $3.3 million currently, is based off of our October ADM count. That could change and will change more than likely because our February count has been submitted. So you may see some adjustments from what the state sends us in that actual budgeted amount coming up. Typically, our ADM goes down in the spring because of, mainly because of early grads and things of that sort. So that dollar amount that we could receive starting in April may go down, and they will also have adjusted that back to January because the February count day affects the budget from January to June. The October budget impacts from July to December. So they'll make that one adjustment going back to January, and then moving forward in May will be a steady amount until the October count day. Okay, so moving on to the debt service fund. Again, this is a fund that we don't necessarily set a budget for, other than it's the amount of money that we owe on certain bonds and leases. So that money, or that amount, is set. And we do have that budget order at $9.1 million. And the reason that there's been no payments to date is because of we received that money in June and December from property tax revenue, and that's what goes to pay the debt service fund. So that's why you don't see any expenditures or revenue at that point, and all of our billing is set up accordingly for the time that we receive those payments. If we look at the operations fund, again, you can see the amount budgeted for, the $11.6 million. And this also is funded by property taxes, and that's why if you look, that balance is getting a little bit low because we haven't received our property tax payments yet. So we anticipate maybe a little bit of that trickling in May, but most of it will come in June. If people pay their property taxes early, some of that money tends to trickle in a little bit early. But one of the things I wanted to point out on here was some of the new legislation that the legislature was talking about this year. One of the things that they're doing away with, if you look at the other taxes and that last acronym there, the LOIT, that is one of the things that they're removing or taking away from schools. And that's where that most of that 50,000 in the actual budget month column has come from, because we haven't received our property taxes. We do get some of that LOIT income tax early at different times, but that money is probably going away. And that accounts for just over $600,000 of money that goes into the operations funds that we may be losing based on the current projections of the state legislature. So I just wanted to point that out, that is something that's definitely coming. And this is also the time of year where we tend to need to do a transfer from the education fund to operations because those property taxes have not come in yet. And so we will be looking to do that probably coming up here in May, so that budget stays in the positive, which is something that we've done or do every year, and sometimes a couple times a year based on those expenditures out of the operations fund. Again, if you look at the box below the two bar graphs, you'll see that the budget year, we're about a quarter of the way through the year. We've only received the 3.65% of the revenue because we haven't received our property taxes yet. But the budget expended is still under that 25% since we are a quarter of the way through the year. The rainy day fund is next, I believe. And there was no budgeted amount for the rainy day fund for this calendar year. There was the money that was budgeted for the year prior for the administration center. So if you look at some of the expenditures there, that $420,000 are carryover POs from that project. So that was not budgeted this year. That is from last year's rainy day budget for that project. And you'll see that basically that fund is expended 99.96% of that budget, that project. So there's only really very little bit left in the project, not in the rainy day fund, but in the money that was allocated for the project. And that is why there's no budgeted amount there. There wasn't anything set aside by the board to use rainy day funds for in the calendar year 2025. And you'll see that the rainy day fund end balance is that $3.8 million. Any questions on any of those reports before I do the historical?
I think it's really important to highlight the rainy day fund as we're closing out payments for the administrative center. We've actually put $300,000 more back into the rainy day fund than we took out for the project. So as we try to remain great fiscal stewards of our community's dollars, I think it's just always important to remind ourselves of that. If you look back historically, it wasn't that long ago where this account did not have nearly this amount of money in it. And so we as a board will be looking into the fall about this planning for this account, plus all the other accounts along the way too. But just wanted to draw your attention to that.
Because it's your first time giving this report, I can't pass up not asking a question of you. I noticed that we had budgeted $637,000 of revenue in there, and we've received almost 92% of that. Is that because we're getting more interest, from our funds, or do we know why our estimate was so far off on that?
I do not, but I'm certainly willing to figure that out.
Yeah,
I don't
just-
know the different taxes that fall into that miscellaneous, and some of those things could be a part of it, but I'll certainly
Yeah,
look into
I'm
that.
just curious because we were so far off. Usually Becky's really good at that, but I know sometimes she underestimates some revenue, and I'm just odd that it's that far off, so.
Sure.
Just curious.
Yep, I will look into that and let you know. All right, the historical fund balance for the education fund. If we look at this time last March and back to actually 7 years ago, all the way back to 2019, you can see in the highlighted area that in 2019, March of 2019, there was just over $4.7 million cash balance in the education fund. Compare that to nearing $18 million in the cash balance in 2025. So the board has done a nice job of allocating the funds and being fiscally responsible and growing that rainy day fund. I can tell you from attending several different conferences with other business managers that not everyone in the state is nearly as well off financially in the education fund as we are, and the board's to be commended for that. So just also note that we're up almost $3 million from this time last year in 2024. So the other then is the historical funds comparison to the operations fund. And if you look at that, you'll see that that is a little bit different in terms of the balances, and part of that, again, waiting for the property taxes to come in and some other projects that we have going out right now that maybe at other times of the year or other years we have not had as many projects during that. So that number will continue to go up as those property taxes come in May and June. And I will entertain any questions that anyone else has about the financials.
Any questions for Mr. McLaughlin? I will entertain a motion, reference the financial reports.
Make a motion to recommend the approval of the March 2025 financial reports as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Wall, and can I get a second? Thank you, Mr. McClellan. Any other questions for Mr. McLaughlin before we vote? Hearing none, let's vote on the motion.
Board, while you're voting during this time, it's hard to believe, but Pat's been with us 4 months now, and he has been such a tremendous asset to us in our office. As you can see, he's become quite the student of the financials within that. And Pat, I just want to publicly say thank you for everything that you're doing. Your arrival has helped us out in the office tremendously. Secondly, at the next work session, Pat will be giving you a complete update from this last legislative session. He alluded to it in a couple different pieces here. It's not rosy. I'm not going to pretend that it is for us financially. And we're going to face some challenges, but it's nothing that we can't get over. And so just want you to know that that presentation is coming at the next work session. But Pat, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trout. The motion passed 6-0. Move on to H2, Pinnacle Mailing Products and HCCS.
No, H1, or I1, sorry. Or excuse me, you're
No.
right.
H2,
Yeah.
Pinnacle Mailing Products. Mr. McLaughlin.
Yeah, so we are at a point where we need to renew our lease with our postage meter and mailing services that we use at the central office and here at the high school. And we had 2 presentations and quotes provided to us for that machine. And the Pinnacle mailing products agreement is in the board packet and would recommend approval of that contract.
Thank you, Mr. McLaughlin. I'll entertain a motion, reference his item.
Motion to approve the Pinnacle Mailing Products and HCCSC lease agreement for postage machines for Huntington North High School and the Administration Center.
Thank you, Mr. Melcher. Can I get a second? Thank you, Mr. McClellan. Any questions or comments for Mr. McLaughlin?
Mr. Allen, can I say one thing? I would like to thank Cindy. She did most of the legwork organizing the two companies to come in and bid that, and all I had to do was show up, so I like those kinds of things. So I do appreciate Cindy's. She's got the knowledge of the machine and what we've received in the past, and she set those up, and we were able to discern which offer and which product was the best for our needs. So thank you, Cindy.
I'll take back my thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Gray. Let's vote on the motion. Motion passes 6-0. Moving on to item I, policies, I-1, Volume 34, Number 2, and Volume 35, Number 1.
Yes, Board, this evening, this is our second reading for these administrative guidelines, and so I am seeking your approval of all of those guidelines that are listed.
Thank you, Mr. Trout. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve policies as presented, including Volume 34, Number 2, Volume 35, Number 1, AG, Volume 35, Number 2, Policy Pack, and Special Update Policy Pack, July 2023. That should be I-1 and 2, if I did that correctly. Or is that going to mess you up, Cindy?
I don't know. We're going to combine them since they're
No,
separate?
if you just do I-1, because the first one is strictly just the AGs, and then the second one is actually the policy packets themselves.
Okay, so I'll amend my motion to just do I-1, which is Volume 34, Number 2, and Volume 35, Number 1, which is the administrative guidelines.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wall. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Melcher, thank you. Any questions or comments before we vote? Hearing none, let's vote on the motion. Motion passes 6-0. Before we move on to the next one, I'd just like to say I feel like we're missing the voice of somebody I usually hear quite often. Mr. Brimberry, I can't believe you don't have a starring role at any point tonight.
Wow.
Move on to I-2, Volume 35, Number 2, Policy Packet, and Special Update Policy Packet, July 2023.
Yes, Board, this again is the second reading of all of these policies. I realize that there are several here, and I'm just seeking your approval.
Thank you, Mr. Trout. I'll entertain a motion in reference item 2.
Recommend approval of the Policy Pack, Volume 35, Number 2, and Special Update Policy Pack from July 2023 as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Wall. Can I get a second? Mr. McClellan, thank you. Any questions or comments before we vote? Let's vote on the item. Motion passes 6-0. On to I-3, Volume 36, Number 1, Policy Packet. This is a first reading.
Yes, Board, this is just the first reading here this evening. Along the way, you'll notice there are several school board policies along with administrative guidelines that are listed. Before our next school board meeting, if you have any questions or concerns related to any of these, please do not help me, or don't forget just to reach out to me and I'll help in any way, shape, or form. We have been working on these diligently. When I say we, it's been Mrs. Gray and myself. We are really close to being completely caught up. And I say that in all the legislative changes that just happened. We'll be writing some more. I have a unique feeling along the way, but I just want to personally thank Cindy for her continued leadership and support in this, but this is just the first reading for these.
Thank you, Mr. Trout. Any questions before we move on?
Well, yeah, we haven't told Gary yet that this is part of the job description.
Yeah,
so
Amy
he-
used to do all the policy stuff, so sorry, brother.
Yeah.
Alrighty, moving on to item J, items of discussion by board members. Anyone got anything they'd like to share? I was afraid this was going to happen. Mr. Brimberry.
Mr. Allen, thank you for noticing. I wanted to thank Dr. Degetz and his team. Outstanding prom, I was told, for Huntington North kids, the whole community involvement. I also want to thank them for the safe prom presentation, and yourself, Mr. Allen, a very powerful presentation prior to that.
Thank you, Mr. Brimberry. It was a great event. This was our 20th year. And so hopefully we have kids think a little bit. Thank you. Anything else? All right, we'll go on to item, what is that, K? Sure is. K1, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Wall. And a second? Thank you, Mr. Carl. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.